Welcome to Pickle Lane. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin. And apparently, we have a lot to say.
I lived with chronic illness for years and then finally healed using a technology called Bioenergetics.
Through that experience, we co-founded a holistic wellness brand called Ruti.
We've learned a lot, to say the least, and we want to share it with you.
We'll explore mindfulness, wellness, and spirituality.
Topics ranging from pooping out parasites to breathwork and even traveling to parallel universes.
We spent a lot of years not living authentic to ourselves.
So our hope for Pickle Lane is to help you find your freedom and pick your own lane in life.
Tune in to a new episode of the Pickle Lane podcast every Friday on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And subscribe and review if you haven't already.
We hope the show resonates and we can't wait to connect.
Welcome to Pickle Lane.
Hi, everybody.
What it do, baby boo?
Happy Tuesday.
Happy freaking Tuesday.
How are you?
I'm good. We tried to do this yesterday, but then I smacked my damn head on the ceiling. I got a concussion and I couldn't proceed with the podcast. The end. So here we are on a Tuesday, because everyone knows, if you are a diehard listener, that Tuesdays really aren't my jam.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
It's your least favorite day of the week.
It really is.
We're going to overcome that today.
I think my birthday is on a Tuesday this year too.
Oh, no.
Womp, womp. And if y'all don't know this, my birthday is the favorite holiday of the year, hands down.
It's actually become also my favorite holiday of the year somehow.
Because it's awesome. I love my birthday. That's just how it goes.
Josh gets sprinkle toast in the morning.
Yep.
Which is, for him, gluten-free toast. Sometimes honey butter.
Honey butter is
like
legit.
Whipped ricotta. Depends on the year. And sprinkles.
I love sprinkles.
With a candle.
Yep. So that's my jam.
There you go.
But since I was like 2, I've loved my birthday. Anyways.
Anywho.
Just signed up for another Wisdom 2.0 AI Summit session. It's just one day. It's not an entire conference, but we're going back to San Francisco.
It's very exciting.
So stoked. Me and Bobadilio.
And
you guys are coming.
we're tagging along.
You're not going to the conference.
I'm not cool enough for Wisdom 2.0.
It's only one day, but you're cool enough. But me and Bobadilio got a little thing.
You do?
Yep. So we're going to San Francisco. That'll be exciting.
It is something to look forward to. Anytime we can have a change of scenery feels really good. We just got back from Seattle not too long ago, and that was glorious.
It was. Honestly, August in Ohio, sweaty booty.
Everything smells. Speaking of smells, we got home from our trip from Seattle, and there was, rest in peace, a deceased raccoon trapped in our garbage bin.
Yep.
And I have never smelled something so foul before in my life.
Erin's a nurse, and I know she smelled some things, and she was gagging.
Oh, man. I've never retched from a smell before, I don't think.
Yep. And we had masks on.
Oh, yeah. We had N95s.
I had a whole mask on.
Gas mask.
Yes. It was crazy.
So foul.
That poor little bugger.
Crawled in thinking he was going to get a little snack, and then he couldn't get out.
And that was it.
Probably.
At least he went out with a feast, because there was no trash in sight in there.
That's true. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, you can no longer listen to this podcast because
that was fun.
That was fun.
Thanks for listening, guys.
We'll end it here.
Other than that, though, doing pretty good. Every July or August, I feel like my body kind of braces for impact. And just now realizing that literally right now. For the past 6 or 7 years before I healed, I'd get sick. And so after I healed, my subconscious is still like, oh shit.
Body keeps the score.
Yep.
It's a real thing.
So we out here keeping a score, and I'm well aware that it's July.
Yeah.
I'm good. I know I am. I know I'm healed. But I think there's like just some slight PTSD still stuck in there.
Yeah. And I think there's a very real physiological with your body and heat, like extreme heat.
Immediately I feel it.
Yeah. Your mitochondria struggle, I feel like.
It's weird inflammation. Yeah. It's not even necessarily heat. It's the humidity. It's got to be stuff stuck up in the air.
No.
It has to be like detoxification
of
the junk that's up in the humidity. It's water particles just chilling in the air. That's humidity, right?
Yeah.
All the junk that's stuck up in that water versus dry air where I'm not inhaling all of those toxins.
I don't know. That's a hypothesis. I don't know if it's a good one, but
I think it's a great one. Anyways, humidity sucks.
Yeah.
And my body hates it. We haven't lived anywhere without it since I've been sick. But I still feel that. A little bit more sluggish, but inflamed. I feel that. Brain fog. But I don't feel like I'm tanking anymore, which is great news.
Great news.
How you doing?
Good. Yeah. We're reading this book right now that's rocking my world that Lauren recommended to us, who was on the podcast recently. That's been motivating me to make changes in my conscious realm.
It's awesome. It's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money.
Yeah, which I was initially slightly turned off by the title, which is ironic. I think that's the whole point, is like changing your consciousness around wealth and money. I mean, we talk about this all the time, but the money stories that we were both given were money.
You have to work your ass off
You
for
have
it.
to like haul.
Yep.
And essentially sell your soul.
Yes.
In some way, shape, or form. And yet, to have too much money,
it's evil.
Is evil or a sin. And that combination is.
And to even focus on money was a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because it's the root of all evil.
Yes. Which I haven't done homiletics on this verse. Like, I haven't researched the translations and such, but it says the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not money itself. And I honestly would agree with that. If you are focused solely on material things and material wealth, I do think that is going to leave you less happy. But anyway, this book is just talking about how we create our realities.
Yes.
And how money is really just energy like everything else. And I'm just realizing how I've created my reality in a lot of ways, not how I want it. Imagine that. And that I have more power over all those things, not just wealth and money, but more power than So that's something that I'm leaning into a little bit more.
Boom, done, roasted.
Yeah, it's been interesting. But today I just feel blah. I don't know why. You can probably hear it in my voice. Sorry.
Get into it, babe.
I know. Smack me around. Just kidding. Don't do that. But yeah, it's been good food for thought. I think I needed something to shake that up a little bit.
You do love food for thought.
I do love food and thought. Yeah. Yeah. The book talks all about detaching from your mind, which so does Eckhart, which you all will be delighted to know that I have now finished that book. And so maybe I'll shut up about it. But there's a lot of overlapping content.
It's a great book.
Yeah. To the one I'm reading now, I'm saying. But anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm good. It's summer. Zoe's almost back in school. So I'm like very much looking forward to that because I feel like I'll have my own personhood again, but also grieving that because I know I only get these little blips of time with her. So
time's just a construct.
Time's a construct. I know. And that's what I'm learning about.
Stop thinking about the future or the past. You're just in the here.
I know.
Now.
The here and now. And every single book about spirituality, energy, consciousness that I read, that is like when you boil it down, it's all about presence and being here now.
Sure.
Because it's all we have. Like really everything else is an illusion. You can be thinking about the future, but you are in the now.
Correct.
You can be dwelling on the past, but you are in the now. So if you're able to be here now fully, like that's where everything is. That's like all we have.
Here now.
Here now. So working on that.
The book talks about, which I've been doing so much on this, huge into quantum physics, but it talks about how time is going through you. You're not going through time. Does that make sense?
I mean, no, but I want it to make sense.
Life and time isn't happening to you.
Yeah.
Meaning, oh, I'm out of time, or time's running out, or time is going so fast, yada, yada. You're controlling the reality of here and now and always will. So you're attracting. It's the same thing. Attracting versus chasing.
Yeah.
It's the same exact concept of being in the materialistic world versus the spiritual. Time goes through you and is just a construct. And the only thing that's infinite is the now.
Yeah. The infinite now. Yeah. I read all these things and it's like I have these enormous, like, mind-blowing moments where I'm like, holy
shit. It's hysterical.
And I get my highlighter out and I highlight like the whole freaking chapter. But then when it comes down to practicality, like how do I implement this in my life, or what does life look like now going forward?
Yeah. It's a practice.
How do I integrate this? It's hard for me to wrap my head around. And I think the whole point is not to try to wrap your head around all of it. It's more so like a knowing or this consciousness. But I don't know, maybe if I just continue reading about it forever more, I'll start to unravel some of it.
I think it's a practice. I think there's an evolution of it. I think you are consciously waking up that side of your consciousness more and more. And as that continues to open, you're going to ask new questions, find out new things about yourself. It's the inner knowing.
Yeah.
You just continue to dig into that. Things are going to make a lot more sense. They are for me. I know they are for you.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a great book. You all should read it.
It is. I could see how this book wouldn't have been good for me at some point. You have to be in the right mind space for it. And I totally understand that. So
yeah, I also think I needed kind of the priming of Untethered Soul.
Yeah.
Power of Now. this book would have felt like a completely foreign language, I think,
Totally.
if I hadn't already read those. So maybe
and
start
I've been
there.
deep into the quantum physics space, just totally digging into that just because I dig it.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me. And it really ties into what we're doing, like as far as bioenergetic testing and things like that with Ruti. It's all related, and
which is what we're talking about today. What a great segue,
you're
babe.
welcome. I really was planning that one.
You know that rapper that is like 4 steps ahead of what he's rapping?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you just did.
Yeah. I won't rap, though.
It's all good. Anyways, we did a bioenergetics episode 2. We were such babies.
Such babies.
Yep. 2 episodes in, we had no idea what the hell we were doing.
I mean, do we really now? No.
Yes. Get out of here. Wow. You can have your lack of confidence, and I will have my massive confidence.
Nobody knows what they're doing.
No, I know what I'm doing right now.
Okay, great.
The podcast is different now. Get out of here.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Also, Ruti was so early on in its stages. We didn't have the new site. We didn't have the new tech. We are well established now, and we understand what the user needs now more than ever. We better. And so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do a part 2 of bioenergetics. We're talking to a bunch of people now and connecting with very genius minds, hearing them give us feedback on how we need to be explaining this or the opportunities that exist inside of it. I think that would be a great thing to discuss.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's been our most listened to episode, I think, historically. I think people are just very curious about bioenergetics. What is it? So yeah, let's dive in.
Let's talk first about kind of what it is. In and of itself is just the analyzation via energy. Is that appropriate?
Yeah. We're measuring energy or frequencies in a unit of hertz from hair and saliva samples is like the gist of it.
Yep. And hertz has been around for a minute. We've been able to measure anything in the level of hertz and know what it is. Where the science has evolved specifically in the human body is we know that a balanced body, which is the goal, homeostasis, is between 49 and 59 hertz, right? So when we're analyzing the samples, we are looking at how best to balance your body in where you are most stressed. Keep in mind with bioenergetics, or honestly with healing in general, it's going to take time. This isn't like do one scan and you're healed, just like you wouldn't do one round of breath work and all of your problems just disappear. Although that would be awesome. And maybe you could do that in some cases with like trauma and ayahuasca, going on a trip for a week or something. When you're fully healing and getting down to the root cause, that's where Ruti comes from, playing off the idea of getting to the root cause. It's going to take some time. So with bioenergetics, the chronological order of healing is based on what your body's going to tell you. What is most stressed is what you have to take care of first, so you can get deeper and deeper into the root cause. So to get your body fully into a balance of 49 to 59 hertz, depending on how sick you are, is going to determine how long it's going to take to go through a journey like this. We say for most people that for however many years you've been dealing with those symptoms, consider it'll take 1 to 2 months per year, which totally lined up with me and has lined up with a bunch of individuals that have gone through this and are now completely on the other side. So keep that in mind.
Totally. Yeah. And I think it's important to understand the framework that most of us are working within is really, if you're living in the States or a place with Western medicine, conventional medicine, what a lot of us are used to is really just symptom management at best, or symptom suppression is another way I like to describe it, because really what's happening when our bodies express a symptom, it's really just expressing what's happening on the internal terrain, right? Like it's not random. And so it's showing us that there's something out of balance within the body. And what we like to do, especially in like the States, is just treat that with a pharmaceutical. I have nothing against pharmaceuticals. This is what we're working with right now. And what that does is it artificially halts a biological process, or it like interrupts that biological process. So the rash may go away, or the fever may go away, or whatever symptom it is that you are dealing with is going to go away, but the internal terrain has not changed at all. We still have things that are out of balance. And of course, it's going to come out sideways later, or come back with a vengeance later. And so what we are doing, instead of testing and working with things from a chemical perspective or a physical even perspective. We are working with the physical body, but what we're testing and utilizing is what is known as like the energetic body or the bioenergetic field of a person. And so we're able to see from an energetic perspective where things are out of balance. And it's really cool for a lot of reasons, but one reason why I love this so much is because it's almost like we're able to ask the body a question. What are you ready to clear right now? What is priority right now? As opposed to just, okay, the symptom that you're expressing is, say it's eczema. That's a pretty common thing that people deal with. Your symptom's eczema, so let's treat the eczema with a steroid cream. That's a very common story that I hear. And what that's doing is suppressing and often pushing those imbalances deeper, whether that's a toxin, metals, or fungal stuff, whatever. We're just pushing it deeper within the body. It's not allowing the body to clear that or express that. Sometimes eczema, like coming out through the skin, is actually helpful. It's like your body is pushing things out, if that makes sense. So rather than just suppressing that, we're asking the body a question like, okay, what is contributing to these imbalances that is expressing itself via the skin right now? And how do we best support those systems back into balance? And so when you first take a scan, often what we're working on, unless you've done a lot of work with a practitioner or something, often what we start with is just opening up drainage pathways, because that is just so foundational, so key. If our drainage pathways aren't open, there's no place for those things to go.
Yeah. You'll quickly recognize that the path to healing is bio-individual. We talk about that all the time. So somebody that has eczema, it could be the exact same eczema, and how your body is going to want to heal is going to look different than the next. So keep that in mind. Let's back up for a second and talk a little bit in layman's terms what is happening. So from an analytical perspective, we're taking those samples and introducing data to those samples to see whether or not in levels of hertz it spikes, plummets, or remains the same. And that gives us an idea, an overall idea of how your systems are functioning at that given point. So if we know the balanced body is between 49 and 59 hertz and it spikes above or below, we know that the body is working through something and it needs help getting back into balance. As we go through that analyzation, we then prioritize what your body is most stressed in. And there is a robust results that is populated based on all of this data for you. And we start to focus on what is causing your body to be in most stress at that given point. The chronological order of healing is going to be bio-individual, and what you are most stressed in now is what needs to be prioritized. Outside of that prioritization, we then can introduce just under 20,000 different types of remedies of homeopathics, herbals, and supplements to see what will help the most stressed help you get back into balance. And we narrow that down to then 6 remedies. So it gives you steps to take forward with confidence, knowing that these specific 6 remedies are directly helping me get back into balance with what is most stressed. But then that kind of reveals the next layer of the onion. Once your body's balanced in that, it doesn't have to focus on that anymore. Just like with COVID, everyone was different with the response. Even you and I, we live in the same house. My siblings, like, we're the same genetic makeup in so many ways. We all had different experiences. So did the rest of the world. It proves that whatever your body is struggling with is unique to you, and we need to approach and attack it in that exact same way. Keep in mind, though, that idea of getting your body into balance between 49 and 59, we're not talking about like clearing everything or killing off everything. Your body being in balance means that it can fight it on its own, which is the ultimate goal. So when toxins come into the body, whether it be viruses, chemicals, heavy metals, parasites, bacteria, whatever it may be, the body has enough strength to fight whatever that is because it's in balance.
Totally.
So when we introduce the data to those samples, we start to analyze. Did it spike? Did it plummet? Did it remain the same? And then we go down chronologically through the systems, which we have 14 systems, from endocrine to cardiovascular to digestion to
locomotor. There's
so many.
Liver, gallbladder, pancreas. Yeah.
We're able to see from a percentage level what's really suffering the most.
And that's really just, it's a visual representation. Like, all the data is filtered through a bunch of algorithms that then shoots out this number for us. It's not arbitrary, but I don't love when people really like fixate on the number.
Yeah.
I don't think that's helpful. It's really just a visual representation of
It's
like
the bird's eye view.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Liver and gallbladder, 38%. We need to work on that. Like that is struggling. And also just liver and gallbladder is so foundational to those drainage pathways that I was just talking about.
And keep in mind, like bioenergetics, period, all of it has been around for 30 years. And there's been this evolution, not only science evolution, technology evolution inside of this space that's allowed us to get where we're at, to identify these 14 systems and then everything below that and what it looks like. We're just on a mission to get it out to as many people as possible and continue to encourage the evolution of this technology by building more awareness around it and helping people heal.
Yeah, awareness and also demystifying it to some degree. I think when we found bioenergetics, I was hella skeptical.
Oh, dude, I thought this was the wackiest shit.
And like I would call myself like a mildly spiritual person. Like I was not opposed to like holistic wellness or anything like that. But
we had been on a 6-7 year journey of me being chronically ill. We had tried everything under the sun. Even so, this came to us and we were like,
but I just want to, so if you're listening and you're feeling very skeptical, I hear you. I feel you. I want to talk for a second about energy and what that word actually means, because I think it gets lost in this hippy dippy realm. It can feel very like wishy-washy. What does that even mean? What are they talking about? So real quick, we're just going to
not beat around the bush.
Yeah, we are energetic beings. Like that is scientifically verifiable. Talk to any physicist, quantum physicist, like we are literally made up of energy. Our bodies are 99% empty space. And what is filling that empty space? It's potential, it's energy. If you think back to 8th grade science, all things are made up of atoms, right? And atoms are made up of subatomic particles, those protons, neutrons, and electrons. And those subatomic particles are held together literally by energy. It's by
that cluster of energy.
Yes. So those electrons are buzzing right around the nucleus of every atom, and they're held together by this kind of polarity, this magnetic charge. What that means then is that all things, all matter is just energy. Einstein said that. But also all things are made up of buzzing, vibrating. Obviously, it's not perceivable to our senses all the time, but all things are literally buzzing, vibrating, and therefore hold a frequency. And so that's the thing that we are working with, is that frequency. And that's measurable, again, in a unit of hertz. And so you can measure the hertz of anything using a device, but what we are focused on is the human body. And so that's why we're using hair and saliva samples. I think sometimes people get skeptical when, for instance, there's other testing that can use like hair and saliva that is focused more on like chemical perspective or biochemical.
Which would be like DNA, RNA? Genuine question. I don't know.
It could be like you send in saliva and that has your DNA in it, and then they can then see, like that's like 23.
Because we are not analyzing
correct. We don't
DNA or RNA.
No,
it's literally just energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a great common question that we get is, are you testing my DNA and therefore do you have my DNA? Are you like
the answer is
banking that anywhere? No.
Literally just energy.
Yes. But same thing. So like with your hair sample, from our perspective, you can take hair from anywhere. You can take it from the ends of your hair, not like up close to the scalp. And so often people are like, that doesn't feel legit. I want what's closest to my body, especially if you're familiar with like HTMA testing is another form of, that stands for hair tissue mineral analysis. That's another form of testing that people use. But the difference here is that we are not testing from a chemical perspective.
Right.
And again, it's just what we're all familiar with. And so this feels very new and different and maybe have some skepticism tied along with it. But from our perspective, the entire shaft of hair holds your energetic information. In fact, your entire body and your energetic field, which goes outside of your body even, all of that holds your energetic information.
Which is also science, like heart math.
Yeah,
these brain things analysis.
Are measurable. We know the bioenergetic field or the magnetic field or whatever you want to call it, the biofield of the heart extends 3 or 4 feet outside of our bodies.
Yeah.
The brain is 2 or 3 inches outside of our body. So
scientifically proven.
Yes. So those are a couple of like skeptical thoughts that at least I've had along the way. Like, Also, the fact that hair can be colored and still sent in feels like, oh, isn't that going to put things off? But it's like your essence is what we're measuring. I know that sounds insane, but it is. It's like your energetic field is what we're working with here. If you're able to get past that skepticism and push through, you'll see how these things correlate with your physical body. Like,
it's stupid.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I have hundreds now of these scans, maybe thousands, I don't know. It correlates, like it just does. And the best part is, and my favorite, maybe, I don't know, I have so many favorite parts about bioenergetic testing, but I think my favorite part about bioenergetics is, so 30-ish years ago, back when I think it was Harold Burr discovered that these energetic changes actually preceded physical or chemical changes in a body, which is insane. Like, he could
explain that a little bit.
He could predict from an energetic perspective a chemical change in a body. So like the energy would change first, and then there would be a physical disease process that happened. So this is like ultimate preventative wellness, in my opinion. It's like we're able to see something from an energetic perspective, sometimes before it even expresses in a physical form. Now, often the people that we're working with have already dipped into the physical. We've got symptoms expressing, and that's why they're working with us. But from just like a preventative wellness perspective, like even with our daughter, there were some just slight kind of behavioral differences. Anyway, so we sent in a scan. We're like, preventative wellness, let's just check in with her body. And she has some real things that she's working through that are not yet expressing in physical symptoms per se. Yeah. But we're going to nip it in the bud. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite parts about this, is that it can be used in such a way as to really prevent and avoid a lot of the heartache and things that you experienced in physical form. But anyway, we're working with energy. Energy is measurable. We are all literally made up of energy. This is not hippy dippy. This is not just like some new age concept. Einstein talked about this all the time, how, you know, when
it's still being talked about all the time. I mean, a Nobel Peace Prize was just awarded, definitely way more into the quantum physics space, but talking about the communication between two molecules. The science evolution of this has skyrocketed in the past 10 years, maybe, which has allowed bioenergetics to be what it is today. And with the technological advancements of just how we can accumulate the data to insert into the samples to see how it's responding and how we're able to analyze that on a technological perspective, even in the past 5 years, has been just leaps and bounds from the past 25. So we're at this prime point of evolution where this technology and science are coinciding that allows us to essentially create what we've been able to create inside of Ruti.
Yeah. And speaking of that Nobel Peace Prize relating to, I think it was on like quantum entanglement, which is essentially molecules or particles that are far apart, even like really far distances apart, are somehow communicating instantaneously, which is insane. But a lot of people's current understanding of biology is really based on like Newtonian physics. So like this enzyme is floating around and it's that kind of key that unlocks this next chemical reaction. And so it's very like this, then that, this, then that. But you think about all the things that happen within a cell in a given, like in a split second.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of chemical, biological processes are happening within one cell in every second. And we've got trillions of cells. So that's so many things happening at one given time. There's no way that that Newtonian kind of understanding of biology is all that's going on. So this kind of quantum, which I think just like in 10 years, this whole quantum world is going to explode. Like people are going to get it more. All of these things are energetic in nature, meaning like that's why our cells can communicate from far apart and do all these things just like instantaneously. That's energy. Yeah. So the study of quantum, I think, is going to really explode in the next 10 years. And I'm really excited that feels like we're on the forefront. I'm certainly not a quantum physicist by any means, but just the fact that we're working with energy, we're measuring energy, and we're helping people heal from an energetic perspective, it just gets me so jazzed. I'm really excited about it.
It's cool too, because obviously out of my experience of chronic illness is how we found bioenergetics. And then we recognized that there was an opportunity to get this into a more mainstream and get it to the masses. Because of that, I think we work with a decent amount of people that are dealing with chronic illness, that are in this journey of being really sick then to healing. But there's opportunity inside of this to essentially interact with every type of person.
Yeah.
You may just have gut issues and that's all you've had. You may only have to do 2 scans before you're totally back to normal. And the amount of information that exists inside of that is going to skyrocket you into how you need to approach life going forward. Same with athletes. Like, we're helping athletes optimize their performance at its peak by eliminating all of the guesswork and analyzing what they need right now to get themselves to the next level. Same with anti-aging. There is this gigantuous demographic that is hyper-focused on anti-aging.
Mm-hmm.
By understanding exactly what the body needs at that given moment is also skyrocketing the efficiency of the anti-aging mentality.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many, I feel like everybody's on, whether it's like metformin or all these other, in an attempt to slow down cellular stress and boost insulin sensitivity, et cetera, for anti-aging purposes. It's like we can go 10 steps further even and know, like, specific to your body. Metformin may be great for somebody, but there's probably a natural, like an herbal substance that is perfect for you. And if we're able to test that bioenergetically and know that is what's balancing for you, I don't know, it just feels even better.
Regardless of what your goal is in your healing journey, even if you feel like you are very healthy, there's still goals of what you're trying to achieve inside of that healthy perspective. You are bio-individual. There's no umbrella protocol that's going to get you to those goals. It may help, and for some people you may succeed, but it's guaranteed not going to succeed with the masses. So even the anti-aging, like what you're saying, there's very specific protocols that are being introduced based on lab work and things like that, but it's still slightly umbrella protocoled.
Oh, for sure.
So why not it be bio-individual and take all of the guesswork out of it?
Yeah.
If you have questions in all of this too, reach out. Like, we are not trying to gatekeep anything on this.
It's our whole goal with Ruti.
Yeah. We want to be as transparent as possible, and we want this to reach as many people as possible because we are seeing it literally left and right heal people. Again, keep in mind, the sicker you are, the longer it may take, but you're going to find long-term healing in this. Like we talked about a couple episodes ago about how people are like in the middle of their healing journey and it gets really hard. That exists. Like, that's part of healing. Sometimes it gets harder before you get above the clouds, like Lauren was saying, but we want to build a mentality of healing and what that looks like and build programs around the opportunities that exist on how growth can happen once your body isn't in SOS. But there's also huge demographics that aren't chronically ill where we're watching people go through a few scans and all of a sudden they're freaking superhuman. So
yeah, it's for everyone.
Yep.
Anyone who's interested in optimizing their health, their wellness, it's for you.
So let's talk a little bit about the experience that anyone would have if they come to Ruti. You can't see it. Maybe you can if you're watching this, but
you've got a little baggie with a label on it for you to write your name, and that's where your hair sample goes. We only need a teaspoon of hair, and then a sterile saliva swab that you will swab both cheeks with and write your name on that as well. Please make sure you label everything.
Keep in mind too that we really ask that it would be 20 minutes away from food and mint. Mint meaning don't brush your teeth and then go do this, because that matters too. But that's really about it. And then, yeah, a teaspoon of hair, and then just make sure that you're scrub-a-dubbing the two sides of your cheeks. With the Ruti kit, a instruction brochure comes with it with a profile card that kind of attaches your kit to you. Coming up, we're going to be doing that a little bit differently, where you're actually going to register your kit with a specific number to you. So hopefully that will make it a lot easier, but then you literally ship it in with a pre-labeled return envelope that's included inside the kit. And then 2 to 3 weeks after we receive your samples, you will have results. While you're waiting, we ask you to do a health form that kind of just gives us a bird's eye view of what not only matters to you, but what you're dealing with right now. That's not to give us any insight. What comes back on your results via how we analyze is what it's going to be, regardless of what you say. But we want to make sure that, like, any medications that you're taking don't counteract with any remedies that we're suggesting and things like that. We will take those into consideration because we don't want you to go through hell in this. We want to have as much information as possible.
It's also helpful when we are narrowing down, because the bioresonance testing itself will generate a long list of remedies, and then we go through and pare it down to the top 6. And if we know that, say, anxiety is like your number one symptom, that's helpful for us to know, because then we can prioritize that a little bit.
Yeah.
Or if migraines or whatever. So it's really just information for us to give you the best protocol for you. And then just keeping in mind that everything on your list, we know from an energetic perspective, is balancing for you.
Exactly. And then once results come back with every scan, you get a free consult. So say it's with Aaron, you'll go through that consult. Aaron will ask you questions and answer any questions that you have, go over the results with you, and then you have the option to get remedies or not.
So after that systems performance section that we kind of already talked through, but that's highlighting what areas of the body are stressed and or have even passed the state of stress and dipped into weakness. And then that also breaks down into more specific categories. So if we see that the endocrine system, which is really like our hormone producing glands, organs, tissues, if that area is stressed, then we will see on the left-hand side of the results what part of the endocrine system is driving that area down. And so whether that's thyroid, adrenals, etc.
Yep.
And so every system is then broken down. So if you've got stress in the GI tract, maybe we've got stress in the stomach or large intestine or whatever. So that's how that first page works.
And then it goes into sensitivity, which could be food or environmental. And you can go on our site and see a sample of results and see what we scan for. And then nutritional imbalances, which is like amino acids and enzymes and things like that. Then we go into toxins, which is heavy metals, chemicals, parasites, viruses, and bacteria. And that could be from tick-borne illnesses to random parasites, viruses like EBV, literally the list goes on. After that, we show you hormonal imbalances. We typically only have 4 or 5 of those. A lot of times hormonal imbalances are downstream and there's upstream root problems causing those hormones to be imbalanced, but it's good to know what your most extreme imbalances are to take those into consideration as you're healing. And then we give you your list of 6 remedies. And so it's a really comprehensive full body analyzation via hair and saliva samples measured in a unit of hertz that eliminates guesswork.
Yeah. And there's so much value in the consult too. So don't skip that part.
It's free 90 free, y'all.
I know.
I don't know why these people aren't doing consults.
Because I think if you look at your results, you're just going to probably be like, does any of this mean anything? I don't know. It's all over the place. You can see the food sensitivities and that's pretty straightforward. Okay, if I can avoid those things. But there are so many things that we can talk through as far as patterns that I'm seeing or the practitioner is seeing within the scan.
And our practitioners are trained in this and are seeing so many results that correlating and connecting the dots inside of your results is sometimes the most impactful part of the consult.
Yeah.
The aha moments are like, when I did my first scan, I didn't put anything on my scan because I didn't believe it. And then she'd be like, are you having floaters in your eyes or does your like joints hurt in your hand or whatever? Do you have ear ringing? And I'd be like, what? Like, how do you know this?
Yeah.
So just do the consult. It's free. It's 30 to 45 minutes. You'll have a buttload of information afterwards. And then next steps with all that information with the remedies. And the remedies themselves, there's different protocols for them and the practitioner based on not only like how sensitive your body is and what your results are showing, how to ramp up into those remedies, because that's important too.
And it's also helpful just for us to be able to meet you exactly where you are, because we can only know so much from the form that you submit. But if this is your first ever endeavor, if this is your first introduction or your first endeavor into any sort of like holistic wellness thing, we want to really focus on like the basics and the foundations, right? And so we're going to talk through different lifestyle things that you can do, but also personalize it to your results. And so it's not just eat better and sleep better. Like we're going to go in depth into here's some things that you can really focus on, like your big takeaways. And just so you won't get that without the consult.
Yep.
You're not going to just know that maybe intrinsically from looking at your results. So
stop tripping, do the consult.
Yeah.
Boom, done, roasted. Welcome to Bioenergetics. Ooh, Bioenergetics gets me amped now. I used to think that it was just this wacky ass shit, and now I got a whole entire business on it. So I was bedridden, and now I'm healed, and most of it was because of Bioenergetics. Obviously, now I dabble in everything under the sun, but to get me to this place, Bioenergetics saved my fucking life.
Yes, it did.
So here we are.
Here we are.
I got you. So reach out if you have questions.
Yeah.
We've got a discount code for you to get $25 off your first scan. Use Pick a Lane 25 and your first scan will be not $349. It'll be whatever that is minus 25.
Math on the spot is not
what I'm going to do. So yeah.
Cool.
This was good.
Love
Bioenergetics gets me amped.
Me too.
Obviously. I love you. I love you listeners. I love Bioenergetics. Get on it.
Quantum biology. Chef's kiss.
Bye.
Bye.